Welcome to today's Substack Live session. You can probably tell that I have just come in from the garden where I have been deadheading summer flowers, hoping that they will survive and keep flowering for another few weeks, and also planting autumn crops. I've been planting lettuce and some kale. I've been planting, I've still got to plant peas and carrots and beets, but it's kind of an interesting transition time. Um, Actually, I've also been harvesting. Last week we harvested our peaches. We don't get a huge crop, but it has been wonderful to have a few peaches out of our garden. And this morning I harvested onions. And one of my fun onions, if you can see this here, this is called a walking onion. It starts with a bulb and then it sends out this shoot, and at the end of the shoot you get little bulbs forming, and of course if you plant those you get more onions next year. And it's something that I just find such fun, even though the onions themselves they're very strong, at least the bulbs are, and so it's not necessarily the best kind of onion, but it's still fun to grow them. Anyway, as I said, this really is a transition time. I'm very aware of the fact that the days are shortening and the evenings are starting to get cooler. And it's, it's transition time. Summer is starting to fade and we are getting ready for autumn. And the things that make me aware of this is that the autumn catalogues are starting to arrive. And much to my shock, when I went to Costco's yesterday, they have out their Halloween decorations. Now, I know that there's a special reason for that because of the tariffs and the concerns about the increasing prices. They've got everything out so that hopefully people will get things before everything becomes too much more expensive. But this transition time is a time that I'm not really ready for because I am very definitely a hot weather person. And I love the long days. I don't appreciate the short days of winter. Uh, and I love the warmth and the blooms and all of this. And it's very hard for me to let go. But I do find that at this time of the year, it's important for me not to try and hold on to something that I can't hold on to, but to hold on to things loosely and to let them go at the right season. And so I like to ask myself a couple of things. Firstly, reflecting, looking back, what have I enjoyed about the summer season? What is it about summer that I really have found fulfilling, that I have found fun and joyful? And of course, I've already said it, the long summer evenings, the long days, the warm weather, the beauty of the garden, and just the delight of people enjoying themselves at this season. But I also need to look forward to the coming season with anticipation. What is it that I anticipate in the coming season that I know I will enjoy, or I should say that I'm hoping I will enjoy? And two things stand out for me as I look forward to autumn. One of those is the changing of the colors, of course. Most of my life, I lived in a place where we didn't get much of autumn color. And so I absolutely relish the changing of the colors, the bright reds and the yellows and the oranges and the browns. Not quite as spectacular here as in some places on the east coast of North America and maybe in Europe as well, but still pretty impressive. I also look forward to the soups that tend to be a part of both autumn and winter. And one of my favorite soups is Caribbean pumpkin soup, where I put black beans in it, I make it spicy, and I get these lovely big grey Yarradale pumpkins that originally came from Australia. I bake them in the oven, mash up the flesh, add onions and spices and things, and it makes one of the most wonderful soups for the coming season of the year. So I am getting ready for that. But at the same time, I'm getting ready for the harvest. It's kind of, as I said, it's a transition time, and there are all kinds of things happening that are in flux. This afternoon, I am making chocolate zucchini bread. I think I already mentioned that. One of my absolute favorite for this time. And I put that in the freezer, and it's something that I can pull out and share with friends all through the coming year. But in a couple of weeks or so, we will be harvesting apples. And the funny thing is, I'd looked at the apple trees earlier in the year and I thought, there's not a huge number of apples on those apple trees. But guess what? There is. And so we are going to have to figure out what to do with probably 300 to 400 pounds of apples. And hopefully we can make apple cider with some of them, be lots of apple cakes. I'll be drying apples. I will be having fun and creative alternatives for what on earth to do with apples. As well as that, the tomatoes are coming in, and I am looking forward to that harvest as well. I love to dry the cherry tomatoes and make uh, sun-dried tomato tapenade, olive tapenade. It's one of my favorite recipes for this season to make with tomatoes, and you can find the recipe on my blog. But just the creativity that this season instills with the harvest, because there's so much stuff. And, it can be overwhelming. And two things I find as the harvest comes in and as the seasons transition. The first one is be creative. And the second one is share. Because I think, I think one of the big principles of God in the garden is recognizing that we are meant to be sharing what we get. We're not meant to be holding it all to ourselves. So I hope you will be sharing. And as I said, my two questions for this transition time is take some time to look back and reflect on the things that you really enjoyed about summer. Write a list, do some journaling about it, maybe make some sketches, whatever it is that appeals to you, and then look ahead in anticipation and think about what it is that you very much want to be able to enter into in the coming months and what will give you joy in the season that is coming. It's a much better way to look at it than kind of keeping on complaining about the fact that we don't want the seasons to change. So go out and enjoy the rest of this weekend. Many blessings on you and whatever you are doing. For those in the Southern Hemisphere, I know you're looking forward to the coming longer days. So what have you enjoyed about winter? What are you enjoying as the length of days increases and as you head towards summer?